Alarms screamed through the warship like something alive. Red lights flashed across the ceiling, shaking shadows over broken consoles and rising smoke. The crew didn't even know what hit them, only that something outside was watching them. Too close, too silent. A sharp tremor rocked the hull, like a giant hand scraping metal with slow intent. No one knew why the ship had been pulled out of warp, or who had forced it. Static exploded across every screen at once. The glass shimmered, then twisted into a shape no human system should form. An unauthorized signal, pulsing like a heartbeat. Crew members stared as a symbol appeared, a mark of the Galactic Council, but wrong. It glowed with a darker color, almost bruised purple, nothing like the standard Council blue. Someone whispered, "This is fake," but no one could speak with certainty. A voice followed. Cold. Measured. Human. But it carried an echo that didn't belong to any living throat. Stand down. Earth has accepted peace. The bridge froze. Weapons officers glanced at each other. Earth accepted what? When? Why was the Council sending a peace order in the middle of a military patrol route? The captain tried to override the message, but every command on the console turned gray. Lock. Sealed by a code higher than any human rank. The ship's main cannons powered down without anyone touching them. Engines dropped to silent drift. Even the emergency turret rotation stopped mid-motion, trapped in place, like the entire vessel had surrendered on its own. The captain demanded identification. No answer. Only another pulse of that purple symbol, beating like a slow warning. Then the exterior cameras caught movement. An unknown vessel drifted into view. Vast. Black. Featureless. It had no heat signature, no life readings, no engine trail. It looked less like a ship and more like a floating void, a cutout hole in space itself. Officers stepped closer to the screens, staring at the shape with growing dread. The thing didn't broadcast any message. It simply watched them, as if checking that the surrender signal had worked. One officer whispered, "Why is the Council sending that to enforce peace?" Another rumble hit. Lights flickered. A console sparked, burning a streak across the floor. Someone shouted for medics as smoke rolled toward the bridge ceiling. And then, every monitor switched again. A human face appeared. A man the crew knew. A man who had disappeared 5 years earlier. A man Earth had declared dead. His eyes were calm. Too calm. "Humanity," he said softly, "your peace has already been chosen for you." The crew stared in horror as the dead man smiled. And then the camera feed pulled back, revealing he wasn't sending the message. He was sitting on the Council throne. A violent jolt hit the warship before anyone could breathe. Panels snapped off the walls and scattered across the bridge like metal shrapnel. A cold blue beam drilled through the ship's shields without warning. Crew members ducked, thinking it was a weapon, until the beam began scanning them. One officer screamed as her badge melted under the light, leaving her uniform untouched. The captain barked for defensive control, but the systems remained locked. The strange purple Council symbol pulsed again on every screen, beating faster now. Someone yelled, "It's rewriting the ship!" as star maps flickered into new shapes the crew didn't recognize. The navigation deck displayed coordinates not in any human database. The ship wasn't drifting. It was being moved. Then a new figure appeared on a side monitor. Not the dead man. Someone else. A young technician from the lower decks, shaking, pale, eyes wide with guilt. He whispered, "I never meant for this to happen." The crew turned toward him, stunned. The captain demanded an explanation, but the young man stepped back, gripping a device strapped to his wrist. It wasn't standard human tech. It glowed with the same purple shimmer as the Council symbol. "It bonded to me," he said. "I can't turn it off." The captain reached for him, but the device reacted, firing a wave of static through the bridge. Screens burst white. Every sound muffled. For 3 terrifying seconds, the ship fell into a heavy, silent vacuum. No alarms, no ventilation, no engine hum. Then sound snapped back like a whip, and the ship's external view came online again. The black void ship outside had changed position. Closer. Much closer. Its surface rippled as if something inside it was stirring, pushing outward. A seam appeared across its hull, thin as a knife cut. Light bled through, bright enough to blind the cameras. A voice came from the wrist device. Not the dead man. Not the technician. A third voice, older, tired, almost apologetic. You were never meant to see this early, it said. The crew froze. The captain stepped toward the technician, trying to understand. Who is speaking? She demanded. The device tightened around the young man's arm like a living restraint. He winced, pain twisting across his face. The voice answered softly, I am the override. And the council is lying to all of us. Before anyone could respond, the ship's gravity failed. Tools, chairs, bodies, everything lifted toward the ceiling. The technician floated upward, the device glowing brighter, pulling him toward the main screen. The seam on the void ship widened into a doorway of white fire. The override whispered one last message. The council did not ask Earth for peace. They asked for your extinction. And the void ship opened fully, revealing a human silhouette standing inside it. The figure stepped out of the white fire, and the bridge lights died as if bowing to him. Every floating object froze mid-air, held by an invisible force. The crew felt pressure behind their eyes, like someone pushing into their thoughts. The silhouette raised one hand, and the technician's wrist device glowed in answer. A sudden, sharp voice echoed, Do not trust the override. The silhouette finally came into full light. Human, but not entirely. His skin shimmered with faint geometric lines, glowing under his surface like circuits. His eyes were too bright, too steady. No human blinked like that. He looked at the captain as if he had known her for years. Your ship is not the target, he said. You are. The crew exchanged panicked looks. Who was he? Another council puppet? Or something else entirely? The captain demanded answers, but he ignored her and reached toward the technician. The young man drifted helplessly toward him, pulled by that invisible force. The wrist device pulsed with panic, its lights flickering like a heartbeat on the edge of failure. The override's voice pushed through again, strained and glitching. Keep him away from the key, he will corrupt the future. The word key froze the bridge. The silhouette tilted his head. You were never supposed to hear that term, he said. Then he smiled, cold, patient. So let me correct the mistake. He snapped his fingers. Gravity slammed back on. Everyone dropped to the floor as chairs and tools crashed down around them. Only the technician remained suspended, trapped in a column of bright white light. The captain lunged forward, but an energy barrier blocked her path. Her fingertips sparked against it, stinging with static heat. The silhouette watched her struggle with quiet interest. You protect him, he said. Yet you don't even know what he carries. The technician gasped. The device. It wasn't supposed to choose me. The silhouette answered. It didn't. It chose humanity's future host. A new alarm blared, one the crew had never heard. The main screen divided into hundreds of flashing symbols, none from their database. The void ship outside began rotating, exposing a ring of hidden antennas. They pointed toward deep space, not toward Earth. A signal burst through the speakers, low, rhythmic, like an alien chant. The silhouette stiffened, startled. That's impossible, he whispered. They woke up early. The captain demanded, Who woke up? He turned to her, expression darkening. The ones older than the council. The ones the council fears. The young technician suddenly screamed as the wrist device dug into his skin, glowing hot. The override's voice returned, now trembling with fear. They are coming. And he is their beacon. The technician's eyes rolled back, and a second voice began speaking from his mouth. The technician's body jerked as the new voice poured from his mouth, deep and ancient. Crew members stumbled backward, knocking over chairs and screens in blind panic. The captain shouted for medical restraints, but no one dared approach him. The silhouette stepped closer, eyes narrowed, as if recognizing the voice. A tremor rolled through the ship, soft at first, then violent enough to break ceiling panels. The voice inside the technician spoke again. You opened the path too soon. Its words vibrated through the bridge, shaking loose dust from the vents. The silhouette hissed under his breath. You should not exist yet. The technician's eyes glowed white, wide and unblinking. The captain grabbed the nearest console for stability. What is in him? She demanded. Neither the silhouette nor the entity answered. The wrist device pulsed like something alive, digging deeper into the technician's arm. Blood seeped around its edges, bright against the glowing metal. The override choked through the speakers, its voice glitching. He was chosen because he doubts himself. Doubt opens doors. The silhouette scoffed. Doubt makes him weak. You plan to use that weakness. The override replied, no. You plan to erase him. The ship's lights flickered, then dimmed to a sickly purple. Every system shifted into a mode no human had programmed. The crew scrambled to restore control, but the consoles fought back, screens showing symbols no one recognized. A sensor alarm wailed. A new ship had appeared beside the void ship. Smaller, sharper, and clearly hostile. Its hull carried the same bruised purple symbol. But this one looked cracked, like it had split from within. The silhouette froze, expression finally showing fear. They arrived already? They're not supposed to be here. The captain snapped. Who are they? He didn't answer. Instead, he raised both hands as if calming unseen forces. The new ship echoed the technician's white glow, as if sinking to him. The ancient voice inside the technician spoke again. We were sleeping. Your lies woke us. The bridge shook. The silhouette drew a strange blade from thin air, its edge bending the light around it. He stepped between the technician and the crew. You do not understand what he is becoming. The captain stared at the blade. You came to protect him? No, he said quietly. I came to stop him. The wrist device suddenly cracked open, revealing small shifting gears like a mechanical heart. They began crawling up the technician's arm, attaching to his skin. His breathing slowed. His pupils stretched into narrow luminescent slits. A crew member whispered, He's changing. Another murmured, He's not human anymore. Then the ship's main hatch alarm blared, a docking clamp locking from the outside. Something, or someone, was boarding. The light snapped out, and a single voice echoed from the dark corridor. Stand away from the host. A blast of white sparks shot through the dark corridor before anyone could move. A tall figure in heavy armor stepped through the smoke, holding a weapon shaped like a glass spear. The silhouette cursed under his breath and raised his bending light blade. The armored figure aimed the spear at the technician without hesitation. Host compromised. Termination protocol active. The captain leapt forward, blocking the line of fire with her body. Stand down, she shouted. But the armored figure didn't flinch. He tilted his helmet slightly, as if annoyed by her defiance. You don't understand what he carries. The technician convulsed, glowing symbols crawling up his neck. The entity inside him spoke through clenched teeth. Kill me, and the others will answer. The armored figure tightened his grip on the spear. That is exactly what we fear. The silhouette suddenly attacked. His blade sliced the air, sending a wave of distortion toward the newcomer. The armored figure blocked it with one arm, the blow ringing like metal on metal. He didn't even move back. The clash sent crackling blue energy over the walls. The captain yelled for security teams, but the ship ignored her commands. Doors sealed. Lights dimmed again. A message appeared on every screen. Level 0 threat detected. The crew stared in horror. None of them had ever seen that alert. The armored figure spoke over the alarm. This vessel is under council quarantine. You are all witnesses to a forbidden evolution. The silhouette spat back. Your council created the threat by silencing the truth. The armored man replied coldly, Truth is useless if it ends every species. The technician's body lifted off the floor. He floated in a twisting column of white and purple light. The gears from the wrist device had reached his chest, forming a mechanical cage over his heart. The entity inside him whispered, I remember the old war. I remember why they fear us. The captain trembled. What are you becoming? A new sound echoed through the bridge. Deep, layered, not human. The smaller cracked ship outside hummed with the same tone. White patterns bloomed across its hull like waking nerves. The silhouette whispered, The sleepers. They're answering his signal. The armored figure stepped forward urgently. We must sever the link before he completes alignment. He drove the glass spear into the floor, releasing a shockwave. Everyone dropped to their knees as gravity imploded for a heartbeat. The technician screamed, veins glowing like molten wire. The mechanical cage tightened. The entity's voice roared, shaking the bulkheads. "We are not here to destroy humanity, but to reclaim what was stolen." The captain's eyes widened. "Stolen? What did we take?" The technician's head snapped toward her, eyes pure white. "Your future," the entity said, and the ship's reactor suddenly powered up on its own. The ship's reactor roared to life with a sound no human system should make. A low hum spread through the decks, pulsing like a heartbeat from something alive. Panels shook. Gravity twisted sideways for a second, throwing the crew against rails. The technician's body glowed brighter, as if feeding the reactor directly. The armored figure slammed his hand onto his spear, activating a containment field. Blue walls of energy snapped around the technician, but the field cracked instantly. The entity laughed, a sound layered with thousands of strange voices. "You cage children with toys," it said through him. The silhouette stepped back, clearly shaken. The captain staggered to her feet and checked the readings. Her screen showed something impossible. The reactor was powering a signal. Not weapons, not engines. A message. It was reaching for coordinates far beyond human charts. Her throat tightened. "Who are you calling?" The entity answered without looking at her. "The ones who built the first councils, before yours erased them." The armored figure growled. "Do not speak their name." But the entity only smiled through the technician's trembling face. The silhouette approached the captain, voice low. "They didn't tell you everything. The council was not the first power. They only inherited the throne." His eyes flicked to the technician, then away, as if remembering something painful. "You humans were meant to follow them, not challenge them." The captain stared at him, stunned. "You knew." He didn't answer. The bridge lights went white, then black, then white again, like the ship was blinking. A new signal hit the speakers, soft and rhythmic. The crew froze. It sounded like distant chanting, coming from outside the galaxy. The cracked ship outside responded. Its hull peeled open like a flower made of metal, releasing thin ribbons of light that wrapped around the void ship. Both ships pulsed at the same rhythm as the technician's heart. The captain whispered, "We're losing control of everything." The armored figure braced his stance and aimed the spear again. He whispered something under his breath, words in a language no one recognized. The spear brightened. He prepared to strike. But then, the technician suddenly turned his head toward him. His voice dropped to a whisper that carried through the entire bridge. "You betrayed them first." The armored figure froze. Shock flickered across his face for the first time. The captain caught it. That look. That guilt. He knew something. Something he had hidden from both sides. Before she could demand answers, alarms wailed again. A distortion field formed outside, spreading like a storm of bending stars. Something enormous was pushing into real space. Not a ship. Not a fleet. Something older. The technician's white eyes widened in recognition. They heard my call, and the stars themselves began to move. The stars folded inward like eyes snapping open. A deep vibration rattled the hull, shaking dust from every ceiling vent. The cracked ship outside jerked backward as if pulled by a giant invisible hand. The void around the warship thickened, bending the starlight into spirals. Something massive forced its way through a tear in space. A shape emerged, too large to be called a ship, too alive to be called a machine. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, reflecting galaxies that weren't even nearby. The crew watched in silent terror as it hovered motionless, studying them. No lights. No engines. Just presence. The technician gasped, body twisting in the containment glow. "The first architects," he whispered through the entity's voice. The silhouette took a frightened step back. "They shouldn't exist. They should still be locked outside time." The armored figure whispered, "They weren't supposed to hear the call." The massive being released a pulse of faint gold light. The ship's consoles reacted instantly, switching languages every second. Human. Council. Unknown. Then a language no one had ever seen. The captain shouted for systems control, but every command returned the same message. Observation mode active. The warship was nothing more than a window for this ancient thing. A tool. A toy. The technician's light grew brighter, almost blinding. His voice layered again. More voices than before. They're searching. They want the truth of what happened. The captain shook her head. What truth? What did the council hide? The armored figure finally answered, voice tight with shame. The council killed the architect's last envoy. Erased them from history. Blamed the humans for it. The captain stared at him, stunned. You framed us. It was the only way to stop them, he said. His helmet trembled. We feared they would take the galaxy back. Another pulse hit. This one stronger. The crew fell to their knees as the light strobed gold and white. The giant being outside shifted its shape, stretching into long pillars of light. It was scanning the ship's memory. All of it. Past and future. The silhouette cursed. If they see the technician's evolution, they'll claim him. They'll claim all of humanity. The captain grabbed the edge of a console to steady herself. Claim us for what? The silhouette met her gaze. For rebuilding their empire. The hull groaned as unseen pressure gripped the warship. Bulkheads began to warp inward. The technician floated higher, eyes glowing like two burning stars. The entity inside him whispered a single warning. They know who you are now. The armored figure raised his spear, panic finally breaking through his stoic mask. We must run. Now. Before they. He didn't finish. The massive being outside turned its full attention directly toward them. And then, in a voice that shook space itself, it spoke the captain's name. The giant being spoke the captain's name with a voice that felt older than stars. Every sound on the bridge vanished. No alarms, no engines, not even breathing. The captain froze, stunned that something so vast knew her. The crew stared at her as if she had suddenly become dangerous. Even the technician's glowing body went still, like the entity inside him was listening too. The being spoke again, calmer this time. You carry the echo. No one understood what that meant, but the captain felt a strange pressure behind her ribs. A faint warmth spread across her chest, like a signal trying to wake. She whispered, terrified, What echo? The silhouette's eyes widened. Oh no, he said. They marked you. The armored figure stepped back in disbelief. That's impossible. Only their chosen line carried the echo. The captain stared at them, panic rising. The giant being shifted its form, unfolding into rings of light that circled the warship. Every ring showed a different age of the galaxy. Wars, ruins, civilizations long gone. Something linked them all, a symbol that kept appearing in the corner of each vision. The same bruised purple mark that had hijacked the ship. The technician's voice trembled as the entity forced the words out. They thought they erased the last carrier. They swore no human would ever hold the echo again. His glowing eyes locked on the captain. But they were wrong. A console sparked beside her, showing her genetic scan without being asked. Lines of code appeared. Unknown markers. Hidden sequences. Buried deep in her DNA. Locked behind old human evolution. The captain stared at the readings, throat tight. What did they put in me? The armored figure shook his head. Not them. The council hid the truth. That humans were not the first humans. Gasps filled the bridge. The silhouette growled. You should have told them. Another pulse slammed through the ship. Metal bent. Lights flickered. Gravity snapped off. Then on again. Outside, the giant being's rings tightened around the warship. It spoke with rising intensity. Return the echo. You do not understand its cost. The captain clutched her chest as the warmth spread into her arms. Her heartbeat synced with the same rhythm as the giant being's pulses. She felt something waking inside her, something ancient, something that didn't belong to any modern human. Fear twisted her stomach. What am I? The technician screamed, the entity inside him sensing the change. She is the missing piece. She is the path we lost. Suddenly, the giant being pulled the ship closer, metal screaming under the pressure. Panels exploded. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The hull began to fold inward toward its impossible light. The captain's heartbeat blazed like a second sun. Cliffhanger. And with a single terrified breath, she whispered a word she had never heard before, yet somehow remembered. The word left the captain's lips, and the ship reacted like it had been struck by lightning. Alarms shrieked. Bulkheads snapped open. A countdown appeared on every screen. 0:59. The crew panicked as the entire vessel started to tilt toward the giant being's light. The technician shouted, "She triggered something. Move!" The armored figure grabbed the captain's arm, but a force pushed him back, an invisible barrier pulsing from her skin. The silhouette cursed and slammed his fist into a console, trying to override the countdown. Nothing responded. The timer dropped to 0:48. The rings of light outside tightened around the hull like jaws. Metal groaned. Sparks danced across the bridge. The giant being's voice cut through the chaos. "You speak the lost command. You wake the path we buried." The captain's eyes glowed faintly. She staggered backward, clutching her head. Images flashed in her mind. Cities not of Earth, skies with 3 suns, a language she somehow knew. Memories that could not be hers. Memories that moved like they were waiting centuries to return. The armored figure realized the danger first. He stepped in front of her. "Everyone listen." That word was a key. The echo is opening inside her. The silhouette's jaw tightened. And if it opens fully, the ship dies. Maybe all of us die. The timer hit 0:33. A hatch blew out, sucking chairs and tools into the corridor. A medic leapt forward, shielding a younger crew member from the blast. The force ripped him off his feet and hurled him into the darkness. His scream vanished instantly. The bridge fell silent for half a second. Then everything became worse. The technician collapsed as the glowing entity inside him fought to escape. His veins lit up like molten lines. He gasped, "It wants her. It wants to merge." The captain shook her head in horror. "No. No, I am not letting that thing inside me." The armored figure turned to the silhouette. "You knew this could happen. You brought us here on purpose." The silhouette didn't deny it. "We needed to know if she carried the echo. Now we do." The captain's chest tightened with anger and fear. The timer hit 0:18. The ship lurched. Gravity snapped sideways. Everyone fell against the wall. Outside, the giant being opened a dark void in its center, pulling the warship closer. The armored figure drew a hidden blade with glowing etchings. "I can cut the echo out," he said. The silhouette blocked his path. "You cut her, we lose everything." The captain's heartbeat thundered like a second engine. The void outside grew wider. The timer hit 0:07. She lifted her head, eyes burning with ancient light. Cliffhanger, and then the captain said the second forbidden word, one that made the universe itself flinch. The second forbidden word left the captain's mouth, and the universe stopped like it was holding its breath. The countdown froze at 0:06. The giant being outside folded its rings inward, not in attack but in fear. Light poured from the captain's chest, shaping a symbol no human had ever seen. The truth slammed into everyone at once. She was not chosen by the echo. She was the echo. A fragment of the ancient mind they had been running from. A piece hidden in human form long before Earth existed. A living key that remembered its purpose too late. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of frozen time. The silhouette whispered, This was the plan. Our plan. Before any of us were born." The armored figure stared at the captain, shaken. "All this time, we thought we were protecting her." His voice broke. "We were protecting the universe from her." The captain stepped forward, her eyes now filled with swirling galaxies. Memories returned, endless corridors of light, countless worlds, a council that shaped creation. She saw herself commanding them. She saw herself disobeying them. She saw her mind being shattered and hidden inside a mortal shell so she could not awaken. A bright ripple moved through the ship. Time unpaused. The countdown flickered and stopped permanently. The giant being outside lowered itself like a bowing titan. "You return to your throne, lost sovereign," it said. The crew watched, terrified and awed. The technician, still glowing, felt the entity inside him go silent. He whispered, It knew her. It feared her." The captain finally understood. "They didn't build weapons to stop the echo," she said softly. "They built universes to hide from it." The armored figure trembled. "So what now? Do you destroy everything? Restore it? Replace it. The captain looked at her shaking hands. I don't know. I only know one thing. Someone woke me up early. She turned to the silhouette. His face twisted with guilt. There was another commander before me, he admitted. He said the Echo had an enemy. Something older. Something waiting beyond the maps. He pointed toward the dark horizon outside the ship. The void trembled. A new shape emerged. Vast, silent, and watching. Bigger than the giant being. Older than the rings of light. A presence that made the ship shake like a leaf in a storm. The captain felt a chill cut through her glowing core. That thing, she whispered, is why they broke my mind. Why they hid me. The new entity opened a single burning eye. And deep inside her, the Echo whispered a warning. Final cliffhanger. You were never meant to face that alone.